On August 6, 1945, an atomic bomb was dropped on the city of Hiroshima, and in an instant, 80,000 people were dead. Over the coming weeks and months and years, tens of more thousands of people would die as well. There were children born with birth defects, people that dealt with health complications for the rest of their life because of the fallout of the radiation of that day. Just 3 days later, on August 9th, 1945, another atomic bomb was dropped on the city of Nagasaki. And once again, in a matter of seconds, 40,000 people were dead, with many people to suffer and die in the coming months and years. Today, wars are still fought, and governments still debate, and treaties are still signed over atomic warfare. That power is so destructive that it's a huge concern for everybody in the world today, but it's not all bad. You see, the same technology that brought us atomic bombs also brings us nuclear energy and nuclear power plants. For years, for most of our history, we have used coal to make our electricity. So when you use coal, you do a lot of things to the environment and you do a lot of things to people. You strip mine areas that are never the same after it's been stripped through to develop all the coal that's going to be put in power plants. You have a lot of effects on people that are breathing in gases that are released from those power plants when they are burning coal to make your electricity. Overall, coal power has always been not devastating, but troublesome for our environment and for human beings. But nuclear energy is different. You see, nuclear energy, it's renewable. Unlike coal, it's not going to run out. Nuclear energy also doesn't have all the same side effects that coal does. It's better for humans and it's better for our environment. And so the same technology that gave us atomic bombs that could be used for destruction also gives us power plants and a new way to make electricity. Because of this, many more nuclear power plants are being built all across the world. You see, the same technology that can be used for destruction can be used for good. It just depends on how you decide to use it. That's how romantic relationships are too. You see, they can be incredibly destructive or they can also be incredibly life-giving. It all comes down to how you want to use them. They're incredibly powerful, both for good and for bad. Back in Genesis 2:18, God tells us how important and how powerful relationships and probably dating relationships can be. You see, in Genesis 2, the world was perfect. Adam had everything that you and I think that he would need. He had God, he had food, he had shelter. There was no sin, there was no anxiety, there was no frustration, there was no pain, no death. And yet, in that world that had none of those things, in verse 18, God comes along and he looks at Adam and he says, "It's not good that you are alone." And with that phrase, God is showing us how important relationships are to us, how important romantic relationships are to us, that we've been designed to have those types of feelings and we've been designed to be in those types of relationships. But because they're so powerful, because they're so important, in the same way that atomic energy could go either way, your dating relationships can be used for good or they can be used for bad. They can be incredibly destructive to your life or they can be incredibly life-giving. And so that should shape the way that you date. It should shape the way that you flirt because you're dabbling with something that's incredibly powerful. It's powerful potentially for your good and being life-giving, but it's also powerful that it can destroy both you and the people around you. It could be destructive in that it produces anxiety. It can be destructive in that you're going to have many regrets down the road because of decisions you made when you were a teenager or a college student. Or it could be one of the most powerful things for positive change in your life. You could grow closer to Jesus instead of further away. You could grow more satisfying. You could grow to be a more satisfying, humble, joyful person than you would have been without it. We handle nuclear technology very carefully, very thoughtfully, very purposefully. We don't build nuclear power plants without putting a lot of safety measures in place. Because if things go bad, they go really, really bad. Because nuclear energy is so powerful. And so we should view our dating relationships in the same way. They can go really, really good, or they can go really, really bad. And so you should be thoughtful. You should be purposeful. You should be intentional. You should be careful in your dating relationships. Because your dating relationships are so powerful, there's no reason to rush. There's no reason not to think it through. There's no reason not to be careful. Are you being thoughtless or uncareful in your dating relationships? How could you be more godly? How could you be more thoughtful in view of how powerful those dating relationships actually are in your life?
Hey guys, we here at Crossing Students hope these videos serve you well. We'll be putting out new videos each week with all kinds of content. So if you have a question about a video or maybe ideas for new videos, make sure to leave those in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks guys.